The following is a presentation of the Spartan Media Network. Welcome to the Spartan Media Network from Playfly Sports. It's time for the Farm Bureau Insurance presentation of the Michigan State Basketball NCAA Tournament Preview. Tonight's show is sponsored by Farm Bureau Insurance, Michigan's insurance company. Now, here's Will Tiemann.
And the 2 seed is Michigan State. Tom Izzo makes it 27 straight NCAA tournament appearances.
Well, there's nothing like Selection Sunday day. I mean, remember my first one. I remember a couple where I was sitting waiting for the second to the last name to come up, and thank God today ours came up early.
Comments from Michigan State men's head basketball coach Tom Izzo as he gets set for his record-setting 27th consecutive NCAA appearance. Hello, everybody. I'm Will Tiemann, and welcome to our annual Farm Bureau Insurance Michigan State NCAA Preview Special. Up next, Tom Izzo is going to talk about his team, its journey, and this year's tourney opponent, the Bulldogs of Bryant University. It's all coming up when the Farm Bureau Insurance Michigan State NCAA Tournament Preview Special continues right after this on the Spartan Media Network.
Our lives are a collection of experiences, from fender benders and soggy basements to great joy and growing families. Sometimes life is unplanned. Knowing that your insurance provider is always close by offers comfort. At Farm Bureau Insurance, the experience you get with our local trusted advisors is different. From financial security to a helping hand, Farm Bureau understands the experience matters. Find an agent who can protect what matters to you.
Hey Spartans, when it's game time, it's One North time. Just minutes from Michigan State University, One North Kitchen and Bar is your go-to spot for scratch cooking and world-class hospitality. When you're celebrating a win or catching up with friends, we've got the perfect dish to make every moment special. Join us for the MSU Coaches Shows and get closer to the action with the voices that bring Spartan spirit to life. Visit One North, where Spartan pride meets memorable meals.
From our farm fields to the football field, Michigan soybeans touch every life, every day. From the food we eat to the products we use and the cars we drive, soybeans are making an impact. The Michigan Soybean Committee is dedicated to helping our farmers grow the soybeans needed for a more sustainable future while working at the forefront of innovation to develop new uses. To learn more about the Michigan Soybean Committee's initiatives, please visit us at michigansoybean.org.
When you're a foster parent, you play a lot of roles.
Provider, giving a foster child a safe home, healthy meals, and hope.
You're always there.
You're a cheerleader.
Your family. You would do anything for a child in your care.
Every day is different. Every need is different. But one of the most impactful roles you can play in life is being a foster parent. See why at michigan.gov/hope for a home. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
And welcome back for more of our Michigan State NCAA Tournament Preview Special, as always presented by our friends at Farm Bureau Insurance. Well, we're getting set for our opening round game Friday in Cleveland against Bryant University. Michigan State comes in a 2 seed, the Bulldogs are a 15 seed. Now, earlier today I had a chance to sit down and talk with the head man of the group, head coach Tom Izzo, and the first thing I posed to him was, could he let us know his feelings about this year's season and the run his team had?
Yeah, you feel great about it. I mean, there are a lot of good things that happen. You lose your last game, it never sits well with you. It's just the nature of the beast. You get to a Final Four, you lose the last game against North Carolina, you don't feel as good, But when I look back at the year so far, it was a phenomenal year. Our guys were great, fans were great. Sure, we were higher than expectations, but not because of, we were down on expectations. We had a phenomenal year, and people should appreciate it because you can have great teams and not have good a year as we had this year. Playing the competition we played, the way that schedule was backloaded, the games we had to play down the stretch, a lot of reasons that it was a fun year.
Well, the ball club, this group, it was the Big Ten tournament was their first time experiencing the one and done. What was learned from that event?
Well, the next day, I met with some guys on the bus on the way back, and then when we got home, we let them go a couple hours, and then we met and watched the game, watched the breakdown of the game, and really tried to look at offense and defense. Where could we have won the game? What could we have done different? Oh, God, we could have won the game 100 different ways when you look at it that way. And that was the only thing that was a little disappointing. There were just some things we did that were uncharacteristic of who we are and what we are. And we let a couple of them rear their ugly heads. And that's what we called it, a learning tape, not a butt-chewing tape, not a this is what you did wrong tape. How can we get better? What can we do to give ourselves just a little better chance to play one more game?
Well, a year ago there was some drama on the draw day as we were the last group to be announced. Not so much this year. So what do you think about Cleveland and the number 2 seed?
I'm happy for Cleveland, for our fans, although the ticket distribution is so strange now in the NCAA. It's crazy. I think each team gets like 400 tickets, and so that's been a little different. And the closer you are, the harder that is, but it's a good problem to have. And I think being close and Cleveland's good. And I don't know as much. I know more today than I knew yesterday about Bryant. They're coached by a friend of mine's son, and that's a good thing, I guess. But a lot of transfers, a lot of grad students, fifth-year guys, fourth-year guys, older team, stronger team, bigger team. I think the smallest starter is 6'6". So it's different in that respect, but, I'm happy with it. I think the only thing I'm not happy with is the time it starts at 10 o'clock at night, and not because it's 10 o'clock at night, but the team that we would play next if we won goes at 7:30. That makes no sense. What does the 2 seed get you? So I was a little disappointed.
Well, heaven knows you have built a lot of great tournament teams. As you look at the club you have this year, is this thing built for the tournament?
I think it is if we shoot the ball well. We still got to make it. Jaden Aiken's got to shoot it well, and in all honesty, Trey Holloman. I mean, those are the 2 guys that have been more up and down than I think they should be. The last game, they were 5 for 20 between them. But you kind of realize that that's the nature of the beast, Tonje gets 32 points against us. The next day he goes 1 for 14. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It's part of I always tell my football friends, it's the problem with basketball that's so different than football. Football, usually the bigger, stronger, better team either wins or, has a good chance to win. In basketball or in hockey, like I watched part of our hockey game, I think we had 40-some shots on goal. You think more than one would go in, but if you get a hot goalie or if you get the wrong angle, and that's what basketball, threes are threes, and if they don't go in, it changes the game enormously. And that's the problem with the tournament. But other than that, our depth, in fact, we can go big, we can go small, we can play different ways. I think our point guard's getting better, our Jace is getting better. Jaden and Trey are big keys to us, I think, advancing.
Well, got a couple days before we have to leave for Cleveland. In the time available here, what would you like to tighten up a little bit?
Well, I'd like to tighten up some things defensively. We felt like we got a little lazy in some of our coverages, some of our ball screen coverages, and a lot offensively. We felt like we did a very poor job moving the ball, screening, setting up for screens, rolling, posting. We just think we got away from what we do a little bit. So we're going to home in on that these couple of days, and we might even have 2 days, a couple of days, not for beat-up reasons, but I'll probably bring my guys back at night just to get used to that 10 o'clock start.
Well, you mentioned Jace Richardson has been a big addition to this lineup, especially as a starter. How important has he been in this stretch run?
Well, he's been important all year long. He's been the voice of consistency. For the most part, he's been the most consistent guy on our team. We've gotten a lot out of him. A moment's never too big for him. I'm really proud of what he's done and how he's done it. So I'd say he's been a very important part and will be a very important part in the tournament. Thank God. People say, well, he's a freshman. But he just doesn't, he's been very efficient and he doesn't seem to get caught up in the moment. We'll see if that continues.
Because he's been able to score, Tom, is that going to take at least some of the defensive pressure off of like Akins and Holloman?
Well, I hope it puts some offensive pressure on Akins and Holloman because we need them to score some points. I think their defense has been pretty good, but it's their offense that has been inconsistent. So if they get more consistent, and we have three guys with a good point guard and Fears moving the ball and things, I think it changes our team enormously.
Well, I hate to bring up officials, but they're going to be there for our games. Do they call the games any different in the tournament than they do, say, in the regular season?
God, let's hope so. That'd be it's been a strange year with officiating, and I it's just like the transfer portal or all the other things that are distractions. To the day I die, I'll say it's never going to get consistent until we get them not to work 30 games a week or month. Well, now they won't work 30 games a month, so is it going to get different? It usually gets tighter in the playoffs at some way, shape, or form, although sometimes they call less because they feel people should be able to play this time of year. So your guess is as good as mine. I'm going to try not to worry about I got enough things to lose sleep over. Those Zebras aren't one of them.
Well, Bryant, you mentioned they're the guy. You were starting to look at him. So at the end of the day, what do you think about this team that you haven't mentioned?
Well, like I said, they got great size, 6'6", 6'6", 6'8", 6'8", 6'11", and their guards are good. They got a couple guys that can really shoot it. They switch sometimes 4, sometimes 5, where they're really a strength, and it's surprising because usually we've been a strength. We get 11 offensive rebounds a game, which is decent. They get 13.5, and that's a factor. I mean, cutting out and playing war is going to be something we're going to live on this week.
This is something I haven't asked you all year. I'm always asking you about how we attack the opponent. First time Bryant's seen us, how difficult are we to prepare for with 10 guys and all the things we can do?
I hope difficult. I don't know. I haven't prepared for us recently, but I think we're even more confusing than most. It's not the 10 guys. It's the fact that we haven't been as consistent as I would like on offense, and Jackson's been pretty consistent. Jace has been pretty consistent. Other than that, we've been consistently inconsistent. And so hopefully we do a better job, but we got to be a hard team to scout for between the numbers and the way we play, and sometimes I'm wondering who's going to be our guy, and so they must really be wondering.
Well, we talked about the 10 o'clock tip-off. At the end of the day, besides the disadvantage of maybe prepping for what we hope is a second game, what do you do all day?
Yeah, that's the other problem. It's not just the next day if you win. It's the day of. And you get caught watching games, but then you're sitting in a bed and, laying down, and that's not healthy for you. I mean, we'll have a shoot-around during the day, but I'd say in general it's going to be a long day. I mean, these are some of the things we're going to prepare for. We're going to have one day where we just have a long day off and then practice late, and we're going to try to simulate it best we can.
Some of the thoughts of head coach Tom Izzo as we get set for round 1 of the NCAA tournament this coming Friday in Cleveland. Now, Coach will be back with us a little bit later in the show to hit on 2 really important topics. Well, coming up next on the show, there's somebody else building something special in basketball. Her name is Robyn Fralick. In only 2 years, she has done special things as a women's head basketball coach. When we come back, she will join our show. But first, a break as you're listening to the Farm Bureau Insurance Michigan State NCAA Tournament Preview Special.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind. As an adult, kids want to know you're listening to them, but they also want to listen to you. When it comes to alcohol, they want to know your expectations and how and why to avoid underage drinking. Talking early and often about it in everyday conversations reinforces your message and keeps lines of communication open. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
I'll be by your side.
At Rocket, we believe everyone deserves their shot at the American dream. So if you're feeling locked out of home ownership, we're here to give you back the keys. We're opening doors, breaking down walls, and doing everything we can to turn renters into owners. And we're not going to stop until we help everyone home. To find out more, visit rocket.com. Rocket, own the dream.
Sometimes we're asked if you need to be a Spartan to be a member of Michigan State University Federal Credit Union. The answer is no. To be an MSU FCU member, you just need 3 things. 1, you love saving money and earning cash back. 2, you have a passion for supporting your community, just like we do. 3, when it comes to your future, you prefer to dream big. If this sounds like you, visit msufcu.org to get started. Of course, if you want to cheer on MSU, we're totally on board with that too. Go green.
Hey Spartans, when it's game time, it's One North time. Just minutes from Michigan State University, One North Kitchen and Bar is your go-to spot for scratch cooking and world-class hospitality. When you're celebrating a win or catching up with friends, we've got the perfect dish to make every moment special. Join us for the MSU Coaches Shows and get closer to the action with the voices that bring Spartan spirit to life. Visit One North, where Spartan pride meets memorable meals.
And welcome back for more of our Michigan State NCAA Tournament Preview Special. As always, brought to you by our friends at Farm Bureau Insurance. And don't forget, at Farm Bureau Insurance, the experience you get from their trusted advisors is different. From financial security to a helping hand, they understand the experience matters. Find your local advisor today at farmbureauinsurance.com. Well, we had a good chat with the head coach Tom Izzo on the men's side, and now we're going to go to the other side of the basketball building, the women's side. Head coach there, Robyn Fralick, in her second year. And she's got him in the tournament one more time. And to visit with Coach Fralick, the voice of the Michigan State women's basketball team, Dalton Shetler.
Thanks, Will. Now with the only Spartan head coach to take Michigan State women's basketball to the big dance in their first 2 seasons, head coach Robyn Fralick. And Robyn, first off, congratulations. Thanks so much for spending the time. Let's go ahead and start there, because last year you made the NCAA tournament. And as you said yesterday, last year it was jubilation, overjoyed to be a part of the dance, go through adversity of 4 season-ending injuries, being undersized all season long, and being in the dance. It was a really special and neat thing. This year, the name pops up on the screen, Michigan State, and everybody stands up and cheers. But as you said, you see who the opponent is. It's Harvard in the 7-10 game out in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's a 4:30 tip on Saturday. And you said, now it's time to get to work. That was more of a business approach. I was curious if you could walk through what that next step means for this program.
Well, I think one of the best things in any aspect of life is experience. And, for our players, for our staff, for the second season, you learn a lot. You learn a lot from the first year. What does it mean? What does the seeding mean? What does the preparation mean? And so I think that's a big part of it. I think from a staff perspective, the experience piece, and then from a team perspective too.
We mentioned it's a 4:30 tip. We're going to be taking the air actually at 4 o'clock on Saturday for this first round game. If, Robyn, some listeners out there may not be familiar with your team and they're just wanting to celebrate and be a part of the March Madness ride that your group is, this is a ball squad that's just a few steals away from breaking a school record for most steals in a season. It's defensive oriented. How else would you describe your squad this year?
Yeah, I love that. And I think right now we finished with four of our players finished in the top 10 in the Big Ten in steals. So disruptive, aggressive, together, tough. There's a relentlessness about the way we play. I love that. I think we always have fight. Kind of regardless of how the flow of the game is going, I believe in our team to keep competing. At our best, there's a fluidity, we're sharing the ball, fighting for the best shot. So, I love our team. I love our kids. They care a lot. And I think you can see that in the way they play and the way they play for each other.
And it all starts against Harvard, as we mentioned. I think a lot of people are going to be introduced to the storyline of you going against Carrie Moore, who's leading that Crimson program over there in her third season at the helm there. But she was a star player for Western Michigan, all-time leading scorer for the Broncos, while you were a GA there at Western Michigan. What's your relationship like with Carrie?
Yeah, it's so long time ago. I mean, it's like funny now to think of it. I was a GA. I mean, technically my term was director of basketball ops, but at that time it was really more of a GA position. And Carrie was the leading scorer in the country. So, elite player. I don't feel like I really knew anything. I was just kind of there learning. I'd officiate practice. I'd help out. But an elite player and an elite coach. And, you know, what she's done at Harvard in her short amount of time there is really impressive.
As you get ready for this game, what can you tell us about the biggest points of emphasis for your squad taking on Harvard, led by Harmony Turner, who's averaging 23 points a game? What are some of the big things when you take on the Crimson in the big dance?
Well, we're still in figuring some of that out, and we will, but we want to make sure we're really kind of sharp on what that means and looks like. A team that we're obviously not that familiar with. We don't have many common opponents either. But Harmony Turner, clearly the focal point of their team, elite scorer, player, had an unbelievable Ivy League tournament. And then defensively, they've been one of the most stout defensive teams. They just don't give up. They don't give up a lot of points. So we know those two things definitely pop off right away that we're going to have to figure out.
It should be a lot of fun. Get your dancing shoes on, and thank you so much for the time. Best of luck in the tournament.
Go green.
Go white. Back to you, Will.
Well, Dalton, thanks a lot. And we should also note here that for Robyn Fralick and her ball club, this is the highest seed the Michigan State women have had in the past 9 seasons. So coming up on Saturday, it's Michigan State and Harvard in Raleigh, North Carolina. Airtime at 4 o'clock. Certainly hope you can join Dalton for that one. Now, when we come back with more of the Farm Bureau Insurance Michigan State NCAA Preview Special, we're going to take a look at the rest of the Big Ten field in this year's NCAA tournament. But first, a break right here on the Spartan Media Network.
Our lives are a collection of experiences, from fender benders and soggy basements to great joy and growing families. Sometimes life is unplanned. Knowing that your insurance provider is always close by offers comfort. At Farm Bureau Insurance, the experience you get with our local trusted advisors is different. From financial security to a helping hand, Farm Bureau understands the experience matters. Find an agent who can protect what matters to you.
Skill is a game changer. And when the doctors you know and trust team up with one of the nation's top health systems, the possibilities are endless. Sparrow is now University of Michigan Health Sparrow. So together, we can bring more specialized expertise, more of the latest treatments, and more of the best possible care closer to you. Discover what's possible at uofmhealthsparrow.org.
Hey Spartan fans, the 2024 basketball season is tipping off, and SeatGeek is here to help you experience all the action. SeatGeek makes it easy to find tickets so you can be a part of all the courtside celebrations this season. Whether you're buying or selling tickets to MSU basketball games or to any other live event in the state, SeatGeek is the place to do it. SeatGeek is the official ticket marketplace of the Spartans. The most disruptive idea in ticketing? A ticket that works. Expect the expected. SeatGeek.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Welcome back for more of the Michigan State NCAA Tournament Preview Special presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. We'll team in here as we're taking a look at MSU in its first round matchup with Brown University coming up Friday in Cleveland. So we were one of 8 Big Ten schools to make the NCAA tournament. Another one that made it was the school that won the Big Ten basketball tournament, that is Michigan. And they wound up in the South region, a number 5 seed, and they will be taking on number 12 seed, UC San Diego, and that game will take place in Denver on Thursday. So to talk about it, welcome into Brian Bush, the voice of the Wolverines. And Brian, I guess my first question is, when you saw your name and that location and that opponent pop up on the big board, what were you thinking?
Well, the reaction was it's a whirlwind because they had just celebrated a Big Ten tournament championship, and you have all experienced that too. It's a very unique 15, 20, 30 minutes because there's finality and accomplishment from the championship, but then it's an immediate flip of the switch, and it's a tough game. I mean, UC San Diego analytically is one of the best 12 seeds ever. They have built this program jumping to Division I. This is the first year they're eligible for the dance, and they get there emphatically. It's a really difficult draw, and it's one that will, I think, probably feature one of the most interesting first-round matchups because of the contrast in styles between the two teams.
Well, in terms of Michigan, you know, you guys went through that stretch where you won big game after big game by a small margin. Then the team got out of sorts, and you played really well in Indianapolis. What got everybody back together?
Yeah, I think that Friday game against Purdue, Michigan was able to really pull away in the second half. They were executing a more offense, and that helped, I think, solidify Michigan back into the ability to win these games. But what brought the championship home was the defense that they utilized second half against Purdue, and in particular on Sunday against Wisconsin. Part of it is tired legs. Wisconsin 4 games in 4 days. Michigan had played 3 games in less than 48 hours as that 3 seed. But defensively, Michigan played better in those stretches and against Wisconsin than maybe all season long, and that will have to go a long way if they want to make a run here in the NCAA tournament.
Final thought, keys for a Michigan win to advance.
Yeah, I mean, this UC San Diego team is one of the best turnover teams in the country. They're top 5 in turnover margin, some of the other analytics in that regard. So if Michigan can take advantage of its size, really UC San Diego doesn't have a key rotation piece north of 6'8". Michigan has the 2 7-footers in Vlad Golden and Danny Wolf. I think they need to utilize the same game plan they had against Maryland on Saturday in the Big Ten tournament. They dominated the rebound margin, and that allowed them to overcome some turnover issues.
Okay, Brian, appreciate it.
Be well. Thanks for all the coverage, Will.
Some of the thoughts of Brian Bush, the voice of the Michigan Wolverines. Well, now staying in Denver is Wisconsin. The Badgers are a number 3 seed. They will be playing number 14 seed Montana. And that is in the East region, and they will be playing Thursday as well. And joining us to talk about this matchup is Brian Bush, Wisconsin's radio analyst and former outstanding player for the Badgers. So, Brian, I ask you the same thing I asked the other Brian. When you saw the Badgers pop up on the big board with this matchup, what were you thinking?
First, I thought that the boys played 4 games in 4 days, and Thursday is going to be a tough ask. I did like the matchup with Montana. Wisconsin did play Montana State, who's in that same conference. Did pretty well against them early in the season. Obviously, Montana's playing pretty well. Any team at this point is playing pretty well. But I think matchup-wise, it's a good first-round matchup, where last year with James Madison was a little bit more scary.
Well, Brian, let me ask you this. The Badgers came up just short in the Big Ten tournament title game. So what do you think they learned from that moving forward?
Well, I thought they played extremely hard. I mean, it came down to the last 46 seconds of a game. Michigan made a play while they got fouled, maybe, and went up 2 there. Wisconsin drove to the basket, missed a layup. Michigan rebounded, and that was the game. I think overall, even though they did not shoot well on Sunday, they guarded well, and they guarded well the whole tournament. And I think that's the biggest takeaway from Indianapolis for this Badger team, is they really guarded at an elite level, and that will travel. No matter what time you play, where you play, who you play, you're going to give yourself a chance if you can guard at that level.
Well, besides playing some good defense, Brian, as a final thought here, keys for beating Montana.
Well, I think they've got to dominate the paint. They're going to have an advantage there early on in this. So dominate the paint, make a couple of threes, don't have turnovers, and just kind of control the momentum of the game. You know, Montana's going to have a couple of runs at times, but you're the better team. Control that, get through it, but more importantly, get through the mental fatigue that might be there for making a 4-day run in Indianapolis and a quick turnaround playing on a Thursday. This team has experience. Of all the things they've been through, they should be able to handle this and handle the first round.
As always, appreciate it, Brian. Good luck out there.
All right. Good luck to you guys, too. Thanks.
Brian Butch, radio analyst of the Wisconsin Radio Network. Well, the team that got to the national title game last year, the Purdue Boilermakers, are back in the tournament. They will be heading to Providence. The opponent will be High Point. Purdue's a 4 seed and High Point a 13 seed. They are in the Midwest Regional, and they will be playing their game on Thursday. And with that, we're now being joined by the Boilermakers voice, Rob Blackman. And Rob, I ask you the same thing I've asked all of your counterparts. When you saw that Purdue matchup, what did you think?
I think a lot of folks were thinking, who is High Point? Because to the best of my knowledge, Purdue's only played these guys one time, and that was about 10 years ago in a home game. And the fact that this is High Point's first ever opportunity to be in the NCAA tournament, they're not a household name. So not a whole lot to know about those guys, at least right off the bat. But, man, I tell you what, when you dig into the numbers a little bit more intimately and you see just how good these guys are, it's going to be quite a challenge. 29-5 on the season. Of their 5 losses, combined total 23 points in the 5 losses, and one of those was a 10-point loss. So they lost 4 games by 13 points combined. That's how close this team is to, quite frankly, being undefeated. So Purdue's going to have its hands full. There's no doubt about that.
So, Rob, the Boilers this year have had some magic moments. They've had some down moments as well. That's called a basketball season, I guess. So as you get ready for the NCAA tournament, how do they look to you? Do they look like they're ready for their best basketball?
That's always a tough one for me to say because every year my prediction on that is wrong. 2 years ago, Purdue wins the Big Ten tournament. Purdue seemed to be playing their best basketball of the season, at least in my opinion, and then they fall flat on their face in a 116 game against Fairleigh Dickinson, and that's it. Last year, Purdue loses in the Big Ten tournament semifinals. You're really wondering if maybe Purdue is stumbling at the wrong time of the year. And then Purdue goes all the way to the national championship game. So I don't know that there's ever a clear-cut answer for that. I will say this, really since the calendar turned February 1, Purdue has really been laboring on the defensive end, and that's been a real concern, I know, for that coaching staff really since really the last month and a half. And that's not a good thing against High Point because they score 82 points a game. So I would say this, Purdue defensively, they're going to be much improved, and they're going to need to be much improved from where they've been the last 6 weeks or so if they want to have any type of success in this NCAA tournament. I would say that's certainly a fair statement.
As always, Rob, I appreciate it. Good luck.
Sounds good, Will. Thanks for having me.
Some of the thoughts of Rob Blackman, the voice of the Purdue Boilermakers. Well, up next, we're going to go to Champaign, Illinois, and visit with Brian Barnhart, the voice of the Fighting Illini. And Illinois is going to wind up in a pretty good spot. They're in Milwaukee. They take on the winner of the Texas Xavier playing game. They're in the Midwest region, and they play on Friday. So, Brian, welcome to the program. Nice pick, I think. When you saw your name pop up, what were you thinking?
Well, that's funny because I thought for sure Wisconsin, that's where they were going. I just had that assumption, especially after they, made their way into the Big Ten championship game. I just figured that's where they were going to go. So when I found, they were going to be in Denver, I was like, whoa, Milwaukee. Our fans love it, because we got a ton of alums in Chicago, as a lot of schools do, and they can make that short drive up, and it's not all that far from Champaign-Urbana either. And the really good news is, too, that if Illinois can win a couple of games, they go back to Indianapolis for the regional, the Sweet 16. So, there's a real opportunity there, and I'm just really happy with that.
So, as you talk to the coaches, maybe even some of the players, do they care if it's Texas or Xavier?
No. And right now the coaching, we were talking to Coach Underwood earlier today for our show and, about how do you prepare? What do you do? And they said, well, they've got some general principles, that they want to use to, that might be similar between the two teams, but the coaches kind of want to filter that out and just work on basic principles, until we know late Wednesday night who exactly they're going to play. So I don't think it matters to them really. It's just, it did create a little bit of a situation where you have to figure out, okay, how do we prepare for this? Because we don't literally know who we're going to play, and we won't find out till late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning.
Final thought, Brian. You think the Illini are tourney ready?
I think so. Yeah. Now the Maryland game, was a bad matchup for us, and we didn't respond well. Maryland just, kind of punched the Illini there and punched them in the mouth and hit us early with some things, and we just didn't respond very well. But I think the way they played for the most part the last 2 weeks, the win at Michigan, of course, wound up winning, as you know, the Big Ten tournament, won by 20 up there, the win over Iowa a couple of times, the win over Purdue late in the season, I think had them ready. And, I think they're ready to go. They've got Riley has really come on, the freshman. The way that Kylan Boswell and Trey White have really solidified the leadership of the team, I think they're in a good spot.
Well, Brian, as always, I appreciate it. Good luck.
Okay, good luck to you, too.
Brian Barnhart, the voice of the Fighting Illini, and I think all of us could always use a little good luck. Well, there's 3 other Big Ten teams that made the NCAA tournament this year, and one is Maryland. They are a 4th seed. They're taking on Grand Canyon, a number 13 seed. They're in the West Regional, and they will be playing Friday evening in Seattle. Now we go out to the East Regional. Number 5 seed Oregon taking on number 12 seed Liberty. They will be playing Friday evening in Seattle. Not bad for the Ducks on that one. And now we're back to the Midwest Regional. Number 7 UCLA will take on Utah State, the number 10 seed. That game will take place Thursday evening in Lexington, Kentucky. And with that rounds out the field. 8 teams in for this year's NCAA tournament for the Big Ten. Well, when we come back with more of our Farm Bureau Insurance Michigan State NCAA Tournament Preview Special, we're going to switch sports. We're going to visit with Scott Moore, and we're going to talk some MSU hockey. It's all coming up right here on the Spartan Media Network.
Our lives are a collection of experiences, from fender benders and soggy basements to great joy and growing families. Sometimes life is unplanned. Knowing that your insurance provider is always close by offers comfort. At Farm Bureau Insurance, the experience you get with our local trusted advisors is different. From financial security to a helping hand, Farm Bureau understands the experience matters. Find an agent who can protect what matters to you.
Hey Spartans, when it's game time, it's One North time. Just minutes from Michigan State University, One North Kitchen and Bar is your go-to spot for scratch cooking and world-class hospitality. When you're celebrating a win or catching up with friends, we've got the perfect dish to make every moment special. Join us for the MSU Coaches Shows and get closer to the action with the voices that bring Spartan spirit to life. Visit One North, where Spartan pride meets memorable meals.
When you're a foster parent, you play a lot of roles.
Provider, giving a foster child a safe home, healthy meals, and hope.
You're always there.
You're a cheerleader. Your family. You would do anything for a child in your care.
Every day is different. Every need is different. But one of the most impactful roles you can play in life is being a foster parent. See why at michigan.gov/hope for a home. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Is joint pain slowing you down? Imagine waking up and moving through your day pain-free. The orthopedic and sports medicine specialists at McLaren are experts in the latest surgical and non-surgical advances to relieve joint pain and restore movement so you can rediscover the activities you love. We'll help you get back to what moves you. McLaren, the official orthopedic and sports medicine partner of Michigan State Athletics.
And welcome back for more of the Michigan State NCAA Tournament Preview Special, as always presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. Hey, and don't forget at Farm Bureau Insurance, the experience you get from their trusted advisors is different. From financial security to a helping hand, they understand the experience matters. Find your local advisor today at farmbureauinsurance.com. Well, Michigan State hockey has just experienced a major boom. The Spartan hockey team is back to the glory days, and visiting with the architect of this turnaround is Scott Moore.
Thanks, Will. I am here with head coach Adam Nightingale. And, Coach, congratulations on your second consecutive Big Ten championship. I got to thinking about it. Last year, you may have taken some teams by surprise. This year, you had the target on your back all season, and yet you still did what you did the year before.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I was proud of the guys. I mean, I think it's not to say it's easier, but it's different when you're, picked to finish fifth, and then you kind of surprise some teams. And this year we came in, we were picked to finish first, and we were able to do that. And I think it's a product of, we had a lot of guys returning. We had a good class coming in, buying into being a team. They got here in July. Worked really hard, and I think the biggest thing the guys have done a good job of, we've been really consistent. And I think that's a credit to the guys. It's not easy to do, but if you want to have success in our conference, you got to be a consistent team.
Well, that's for sure, and you have been consistent. A couple of your players, Carson Dorwart and Isaac Howard, have had at least 1 point in every series that they've played in, including this past weekend, the 1-0 win over Notre Dame.
Yeah, I mean, those guys have, that's and again, same thing with them. They're at a different spot in their career where they got a target on their back. So, when Carson first came to us, I don't think many people knew much about him, right? He was a 20-point guy in the USHL, but now he was picked to be an all-league player and to back that up and play the way he's done. And Isaac's, his resume speaks for itself. So when he's on the ice, everyone's aware of it. So to consistently produce, at a high level, I got a ton of respect for that.
The team has had such a great turnaround since you took over. You could see it coming in the second half of your first season, and then last season and this season, both regular season championship titles for the team. What do you think has been the key to not only the turnaround but the continued success?
Well, I think there's a lot that goes into it, but hiring a good staff. I think we got a really good staff that's in it for the right reasons. They're great at helping players get better. They're great at identifying players that'll fit in with what Michigan State's all about, and then it's recruiting the right type of people. We're not into promises and guarantees. You got to come here and earn things. And the nice thing for our staff is we literally can go in front of the locker room and there are no side deals. Like, you want to play more, play better, and some families aren't into that and they don't come, but we get the right ones, and I think a product of that is they're here hungry to get better, and we've done that over the 3 years.
This show is about the basketball teams and their NCAA tournament runs, which are upcoming. I know that you have been close with basketball. Your players and the basketball players have gotten close. That's just kind of mind-blowing on a campus where there's so many things that these guys have drifted together.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I think we're thankful for the support we get from Coach Izzo. I think he's obviously invested in our program, and I talked to him pretty much before every one of our games, and got a chance to travel with the team to Spain, and just to watch them, interact as a team, and watch coach, and get to know the players a little bit. So yeah, a ton of respect for them, and I think that's mutual back, towards us too, right? I think they respect what we've done here, and it's great, being part of an institution where it's not just about basketball, it's not just about football, it's not just about hockey, it's about Michigan State, and feel fortunate to be a part of it.
Well, Coach, this show, again, is about NCAA tournament. You still have one game to go before you learn your team's NCAA tournament draw, and that is this Saturday here at home against Ohio State, a team that you went 3-1 against during the regular season. What can you tell us about the Buckeyes? Have they changed much that you've been able to see since you saw them back in the end of January?
Well, I think they've been a real consistent team too, and I think they're really well coached. You gotta really work to try to create against them, and they got some guys that can catch you in transition. Their goalies have played well, and so it'll be a really great test for us. We're thankful to be able to play another championship game in front of our home crowd. It's been awesome at Mon, and the semis against Notre Dame, there was a ton of buzz in the building, and expecting the same come Saturday.
Well, Coach, best of luck against the Buckeyes on Saturday.
Thanks, Scott.
Will, that's the look from Mon Ice Arena. We'll go back to you.
Well, Scotty, thanks a lot. What an amazing turnaround for that hockey program. Back-to-back Big Ten championships. Well, you are listening to the Farm Bureau Insurance Michigan State NCAA Tournament Preview Special.
If you served honorably in our nation's armed forces and you're looking for a way to continue serving your fellow veterans in your community, then join AMVETS. AmVets members volunteer millions of hours at VA healthcare facilities from coast to coast, helping to improve the lives of their fellow veterans through the VA Voluntary Services Program. AmVets posts and departments also participate in a wide variety of community service projects. If you no longer wear the uniform today, you can still serve through the AmVets by joining today at amvets.org.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go, go!
Run, James!
No, first base!
Go, go, go!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street, you're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
When you're a foster parent, you play a lot of roles.
Provider, giving a foster child a safe home, healthy meals, and hope.
You're always there.
You're a cheerleader.
Your family. You would do anything for a child in your care.
Every day is different. Every need is different. But one of the most impactful roles you can play in life is being a foster parent. See why at michigan.gov/hope for a home. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
And welcome back for more of the Michigan State NCAA Tournament Preview Special presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. Little team in here as we're kind of setting the stage, getting ready for our trip to Cleveland. In a Friday first-round matchup, Michigan State, the 2 seed, against number 15 seed Bryant. Now joining us, my longtime partner, 17 seasons I've been with this guy, Matt Steigenga, former great player at Michigan State. Matt, thanks for joining us here in the studio. And so my first question to you, like I've asked several people already on the show, when you saw MSU pop up on the board, a 2 seed against Bryant, the 15 seed in Cleveland, what were you thinking?
You know, what's amazing to me is how the prognosticators almost got this right, almost 100%. So, yeah, going to Cleveland and being the number 2 seed and, possibly playing Marquette in the second round should we both win is, I don't love that because Marquette, of course, we beat 2 years ago in the same scenario when they were a 2 seed in Columbus. So, they're going to have that revenge on their mind should we meet them. But, Iowa State, we saw them in Maui, very good ball club, but they just lost one of their best players in the backcourt. So they are now weakened. So, overall, don't love being with Auburn, but quite frankly, they're not playing great. They've lost 3 or 4 coming into this. And so, we'll see. Michigan's in there as well. And, they're talking about a lot of upsets here. But overall, I think we have a great shot at getting to the Final Four.
I ask Izzo this question. I'll ask you this one, too. Do you think, as you look at all the tournament teams we've had, teams that you've played on at Michigan State, does this one look like it's built for a good run in the tournament?
It really does, because I don't think at this point of the season there's fatigue. Other teams that maybe played 7 deep, they're going to be a little tired. Practices are that much harder, and I don't think Michigan State has ever let their foot off the gas, and so I think these guys will be ready. I don't love the idea that the loss in the semifinals in the Big Ten tournament will make us more hungry. I don't buy into that, but I do believe this team doesn't like to lose. And look what happened the last time we lost to Indiana. We go on this really unbelievable run, beating all these quad 1 teams, a lot of ranked teams, really good teams. So, I think this team right now is ready to make a long run. Just got to keep the focus. Can't do what we did against Wisconsin and do all those little mistakes that lead to losses in tournament games.
Okay, the first game, if you win, and the second game as well, first-time opponents for Michigan State and vice versa, right? And I just was wondering, if you're the other guy looking at Michigan State, what do you try to stop? What do you think MSU's number one thing the opponent's got to get a handle on to beat Michigan State?
Well, it's interesting because Wisconsin might be the model. They really limited our fast break opportunities. They just got back defensively, didn't really crash the offensive boards. I think they were opportunistic when it came to getting the offensive board. Long shots, they take a lot of threes, long rebounds, but they don't crash like Illinois does. So, if you're Bryant, I don't think they could rebound with us anyway. No one can, really. But, what I know of Marquette, not a good rebounding team. So right there, they're at a disadvantage. So I think you try to win on the fast break points. Maybe you make Michigan State try to beat you from outside. But you're certainly not going to win the rebounding margin per se. But I think that's something you give up and just hope for the best.
So how do you feel about this one?
As good as I've felt in years past. Certainly better the year we played in the play-in game down in Purdue. I mean, those teams were just getting in. I mean, really low seeds. But I think this team, had we made it to Sunday in Indianapolis in the Big Ten tournament, could have been a legit number one seed, snuck into that number 4, number 1. But overall, this team playing so well, I think it says a lot about a team playing well coming into the tournament, and clearly this team's playing well.
And so we have the late game against Bryant. You think it makes any difference?
I don't think it makes a difference for the team. It might for you and I. It's going to be a late one, so bring that coffee. But I don't love it, right, because we're at the end of day 2, and then you're certainly not going to have 48 hours to get ready for your second game. And like what the NCAA loves to do to a team like this is make you play early on Thursday. So really short turnaround. So we'll see. I mean, if we win too, if those good fortunes happen, I certainly would like a Friday game in Atlanta, but we'll see how it plays out.
Well, appreciate it, Matt. So we'll see if we get to play 2 games.
Hopefully, we'll be doing this a couple more weekends.
And wouldn't that be good? Well, when we come back with more of the Farm Bureau Insurance Michigan State NCAA Tournament Preview Special, another visit with head coach Tom Izzo, right here on the Spartan Media Network.
Our lives are a collection of experiences, from fender benders and soggy basements to great joy and growing families. Sometimes life is unplanned. Knowing that your insurance provider is always close by offers comfort. At Farm Bureau Insurance, the experience you get with our local trusted advisors is different. From financial security to a helping hand, Farm Bureau understands the experience matters. Find an agent who can protect what matters to you.
Skill is a game changer. And when the doctors you know and trust team up with one of the nation's top health systems, the possibilities are endless. Sparrow is now University of Michigan Health Sparrow. So together, we can bring more specialized expertise, more of the latest treatments, and more of the best possible care closer to you. Discover what's possible at uofmhealthsparrow.org.
Hey Spartan fans, the 2024 basketball season is tipping off, and SeatGeek is here to help you experience all the action. SeatGeek makes it easy to find tickets so you can be a part of all the courtside celebrations this season. Whether you're buying or selling tickets to MSU basketball games or to any other live event in the state, SeatGeek is the place to do it. SeatGeek is the official ticket marketplace of the Spartans. The most disruptive idea in ticketing, a ticket that works. Expect the expected. SeatGeek.
From the biggest of big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go. Go!
Run, James!
No. First base!
Go!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street. You're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
And we're back with more of the Michigan State NCAA Tournament Preview Special, presented, as always, by Farm Bureau Insurance. And coming back for a final thought on our show today is Michigan State's head basketball coach, Tom Izzo. And one of the questions I asked him was to get his thoughts about how he's feeling about his 27th consecutive record-setting NCAA appearance.
I think we should say 27 and a half because everybody knows we won the league in 20 and we would have gone to the NCAA tournament, and COVID actually reared its ugly head, and I still say to this day that was a Final Four team on paper and one way we were playing at the end. But I just feel blessed that I'm in this situation. I feel like our university has really backed us, our president, board, AD, and all the people, the fans. I think the players have, tried to stick to a routine and done the best they could do, and my coaching staff did a phenomenal job. So I don't have a lot of complaints right now. I have a lot of excitement, a lot of looking forward to, but there's always trepidations in this job, and you're always thinking, as I told my team, I've been at 2, been beaten by 15. I've been a 7 seed and gone to a Final Four. I've witnessed a friend of mine lose the infamous 1-16 game. Don't trust anything except the people in this room. And it's the time in a day where distractions are at an incredible premium. And those who stay focused and stay together, stay connected, are the ones that are probably advancing.
I do have to ask you this. How much do you enjoy this?
Well, I really do. I mean, I said God invented March for basketball coaches. I mean, it's, and he must have really had a special for me because I do. I just look forward to it. I look forward to not only us playing, I look forward to all the games that are on and the way it is. But it's nerve-wracking, it really is, because there's so much more parity than there was. Used to, if you were a 2 seed, you said, oh, man, I'm getting out of the first weekend, Now you don't even think about it, Now you're worried about getting out of the first game. So times have changed, but the excitement, the fun, the energy, the fact that Friday is as long of a day, or Thursday, we'll be sitting there and there'll be games going on. And when there's like 3-4 upsets, you say, wow, maybe we got rid of them on Thursday, And if there's none, you say, oh boy, some are coming. Could you be one of them? So it's a crazy time, but it's a good time. And to me, it's the memory-making moments that I have. And when I write my final chapter, there's going to be a lot on the memory-making moments of March.
I appreciate it, Tom. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Will.
And with that, that's a wrap for this edition of the Farm Bureau Insurance Michigan State NCAA Preview Special. Special thanks go out to our producer, Dalton Shetler, along with Mex Carey of Michigan State. Our executive producer is Wendy Hart. Up next, it's Michigan State and the Bulldogs of Bryant University in round 1 of this year's NCAA tournament. Airtime is set for 9 o'clock on Friday evening. Hope you can join us for that. I'm Will Tiemann, and thanks for your time.
You've been listening to the Farm Bureau Insurance presentation of the Michigan State Basketball NCAA Tournament Preview. Sponsored by Farm Bureau Insurance, Michigan's insurance company. The Michigan State Basketball NCAA Tournament Preview has been a presentation of Playfly Sports in partnership with Michigan State Athletics. All rights reserved. Join us next time on this network station for all the action of Michigan State's Spartan basketball. A presentation of the Spartan Media Network.